National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has revealed that more than 200 homes have been destroyed by high tides that swept through some communities in the Volta region. Deputy Director Management of NADMO said that their preliminary assessments show that devastation is massive. Mr. Amidenu stated that he is assessing the damage to the homes to ascertain which ones can be salvaged or temporarily restored to serve as shelter for homeowners. He, however, added that some residents have been given temporary shelter while assessment is ongoing. Some residents of Kita municipality were rendered homeless after tidal waves swept through their homes on Sunday dawn. This year's waves has affected many households and individuals, displacing many residents and destroying fishing equipment, livestock, and other valuables. The Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakwata, says the government has plans to fix deplorable roads and that it will be unreasonable for one to expect all bad roads to be done at the same time. The minister expressed disappointment that some educated people join in demonstrations for their roads to be fixed. According to him, such demonstrations will not get the roads fixed and so are needless. Demonstrations have become a common way community members in Ghana communicate their grievances and make petitions for their respective deplorable roads to be fixed. Oftentimes, the government is forced to give updates, and local assemblies have their attention drawn for action to be taken after such incidents. The Kaneshie District Court has adjourned to November 16, 2021, the case involving the National Democratic Congress NDC Member of Parliament MP for Medina, Mr. Francis Xavier Sosu. This followed the absence of Mr. Sosu from court yesterday. When the case was called in chambers, the police informed the court that they received a letter from the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Albin Gbagbin, indicating that Mr. Sosu was out of the country on parliamentary duties. The case was subsequently adjourned for the MP to appear later. Mr. Sosu has been charged with unlawfully blocking a public road and destroying public property after he joined his constituents to embark on a demonstration over poor roads in the area on October 25th this year. "16 driver unions are demanding that government scrap some taxes on petroleum products. According to the unions, they have identified at least 5 taxes that they believe serve no useful purpose. The Coalition of Private Transport Associations include Tipper Truck Association, Articulated Drivers Association, Ghana Private Roads and Transport Union, GPRTU, Ghana National Cargo Transport Association, Ghana Committed Drivers Association, True Drivers Union, and Digital Drivers Union. They say should their caution go unheeded, they will be forced to withdraw their service on Thursday at 3 p.m. A liter of petrol and diesel currently sells at 6.9 Ghana cedis at major oil marketing companies across the country. The driver unions say they cannot continue to put up with such high prices. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has said the rise in illicit fuel trade along some entry and exit points of the country, notably the Aflao border, has become a major concern and a threat to the revenue mobilization efforts of the government. Chief Executive of NPA, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, has said his outfit has been alerted on these developments happening on the border. The NPA, he stated, had not licensed any importer to bring fuel through the Aflao border and therefore urged the border officers to stop the importation of petroleum products by road. Dr. Abdul Hamid said combating fuel smuggling is still a menace that denies the government of the right revenue. Against this background, he said it was important to maintain such a feat and called for these activities to be tackled to the barest minimum. Access Bank Ghana, in partnership with Open Labs, has challenged small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, to embrace emerging opportunities through digitalization for their business growth. Mr. Jones Damore, Zone Head for Business Banking for Access Bank, explained that the bank's commitment to supporting SMEs stems from its commitment of providing sustainable business practices to customers. That because SMEs make significant contribution to Ghana's economy, it is prudent to support their growth. Mr. Damore added that Access Bank has since the beginning of the year mobilized and empowered over 4,000 SMEs in workshops aimed at building their capacity in utilizing digitalization and offering business advisory support and loans facilities. A U.S. judge has ruled a congressional committee investigating the Capitol riot can access some of ex-President Donald Trump's White House records. Mr. Trump had sought to invoke executive privilege under which presidential documents can be kept secret. The inquiry is trying to find out if Mr. Trump had prior knowledge of the riot. Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building on 6 January as Congress was certifying President Joe Biden's election victory. Mr. Trump has refused to acknowledge losing the election last year, claiming without evidence that it had been rigged. The inquiry inquiry is being conducted by a committee set up by the House of Representatives, which is dominated by President Biden's Democrats. The panel wants to see a trove of phone records, visitor logs, and other White House documents that could shed some light on the events leading up to the attack on Congress. Poland's prime minister has accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of being behind a migrant crisis at Belarus' border with Poland. Mateusz Morawiecki said the Belarus authoritarian leader, a close ally of Mr. Putin, is orchestrating the crisis, but, quote, it has its mastermind in Moscow. At least 2,000 migrants are stuck at the border in freezing conditions. Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko denies claims it is sending people over the border in revenge for EU sanctions. Video footage shows crowds of people on the Belarus side of a barbed wire border fence with Poland. Some try to force their way through using bolt cutters, tree trunks, and group force, while Polish guards fend them off with what appears to be tear gas. Many of the migrants are young men, but there are also women and children, mostly from Middle East and Asia. They are camping in tents just inside Belarus, trapped between Polish guards on one side and Belarusian guards on the other. Mauritius has closed all schools as the number of COVID cases continue to rise. Education Minister Leela Devi Dokan Luchaman made the announcement in a statement on the national television on Tuesday. She said all classes would be held online from Thursday. The country has recorded 8,856 cases of COVID in learning institutions since 18th October. The Indian Ocean island has had a recent surge in the number of COVID deaths, with 42 occurring in the past week and 14 of them aged below 60 years. About 2/3 of the Mauritian population have been fully vaccinated. The health minister on Tuesday told Parliament that 61 fully vaccinated people had died in hospitals across the country since January. 44 of them had received Sinopharm injections, she said. The government is encouraging citizens to take a third vaccine dose. Twenty-four players traveled to South Africa on Tuesday for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Ethiopia at the Orlando Stadium on Thursday. Fifteen players trained in Accra on Monday as the team started preparations for the final two Group G games in the World Cup qualifiers. The Black Stars had their second training session on Tuesday morning ahead of the trip to Johannesburg. Ghana is hoping to make a return to the World Cup after missing out in the 2018 edition in Russia. A win over Ethiopia and South Africa will guarantee Ghana a place in the playoffs. The Football Association wants crowds in the Women's Super League to be 3 times bigger by 2024. Attendances have decreased since before COVID-19, but a new broadcast deal has seen viewing figures increase hugely. Prior to last weekend's round of matches, the average attendance across the league has dropped from around 3,000 in 2020-21 to 2,282 this season. But the FA hopes the average will increase to 6,000 in 3 years, which would be a sellout for most clubs. FA's director of the women's professional game, Kelly Simmons, said, quote, "Fans have not been able to come to games for some time, so we have to recreate that habit. We have a fantastic opportunity with Sky and the BBC to build that awareness and signpost fans back." Production for the highly anticipated Black Panther Wakanda Forever will halt temporarily while lead actress Letitia Wright recovers from an onset injury, Variety reports. The outlet confirmed that filming for the Marvel Studio movies is set to take a break beginning the week of Thanksgiving and begin shooting again in 2022. Wright, who is set to reprise her role as Shuri, endured minor injuries following a stunt mishap during an overnight shoot in Boston in August. When the incident occurred, the 28-year-old Guyanese-born British actress was hospitalized. However, sources said the injuries would have no impact on the film's production. All of the scenes that could be shot without Wright have reportedly been finished, and the November 11, 2022 release date currently stands. The original July 2022 release date for Wakanda Forever was pushed back by Marvel in October. People going to cinemas in theaters in Wales will be required to show a COVID pass after the Welsh government won a vote in the Senate. Currently, visitors to nightclubs and large events have to show they are fully vaccinated and have tested negative for COVID. Labour ministers won the vote after Plaid Cymru backed the plans. The new law passed with 39 members of the Senate voting for and 15 against, with the Welsh Conservatives and Liberal Democrat Jane Dodds opposed. On Tuesday night, Big Brother Watch, a civil liberties campaign, said it was starting legal proceedings against the Welsh government, calling the scheme, quote, authoritarian, invasive and unevidenced. But Labour said the COVID pass was popular, and Health Minister Eluned Morgan said the extension was designed to keep cinemas and theaters open over the winter months.